Alright, I just tweaked the settings. It should be a lot better now. Uh, let's just make sure we're streaming. We got a couple ideas to go over. The support area that we drew earlier, it just broke. So we have a measured move to be looking at. Let's see. Alright. So what we do, pull this out, take the measured move. So this on the 1 hour, we drew it earlier on the 4 hour, so you'd go to right here. Make sure this is selected. And then it started right here, so you can draw from right here to right here. And then it broke down, and it broke down right here, so you'd start the measured move right here. And potentially, it would be hitting this support area right at 30,785. So for a breakout continuation to happen, you want to see, and so just so you guys know, just so you remember, if you're looking at this, about 30,800, it's essentially the measured move. But what we're going to do is we're going to take this candlestick, going to move it, or this trend line, we're going to move it down to this size, move this right here, and then move this right here, and then move this one right here. And overall, you have a downtrend in volume. Let's see, it's like right there. Oh, so I added some lines, if you guys are watching the stream. So this is the DXY. All you really need to know is as this pumps, more likely Bitcoin is to go down. And as it declines, Bitcoin is more likely to go up. This has the most relevancy during hours like Monday through Friday, during normal trading hours when a lot of institutions mostly look at these things. But so that's the DXY right here, and just look at it. It says USD, and then obviously just think buying power right now is at 90%, whereas this is the Ethereum chart. You can see it right here. And Ethereum looks like it's going down right here. It seems to be, I guess it's relatively correlated with Bitcoin still, but this is the Ethereum chart. And essentially what we're doing right here is, like I said, on this channel, we're really looking at Ethereum, but we want to use, Ethereum indicator is Bitcoin for the most part recently, and to basically figure out and look at ideas we want to see if Bitcoin's going to drop. And it looks like it's consolidating again. We showed that downtrending volume, and then it did break out of this pattern, and then it already just wicked back up, and that just shows more so than anything that it's consolidating. Yeah, I mean. And then one last, we got VPR support now, which was cool. So it's called VPVR. So that's what it was. And so then I just searched it up and we found it. And then this is basically a software that generates support and resistance lines, so that we don't have to draw those. And then essentially, if we're looking at this thing more as the price starts to dump, and we'll be putting like our EMA, stuff like that. Super trend's relatively important right now. Let's see. And yeah, we'll just put our like EMA 21, all our EMAs, and then Ichimochi, and then MA ribbon. If Bitcoin starts to dump along with these support lines that we have coded in. So I'm going to go down to 1 hour. Or no, let's go to the Guess we can go down to 1 hour. So yeah, I mean, for this idea to play out, you would have to see volume. I mean, volume is just falling off a cliff. Um, and the other thing is, you think, well, is Bitcoin gonna dump? Well, you have volume decreasing right here. You have volume decreasing right here. You have volume decreasing right here. All the same time, you have um, you have price action decreasing. So if the bears are getting weaker and weaker, then obviously that just means we're consolidating. Or at the very least, it could mean that the bulls are very strong, but the fact that we have this bearish candlestick idea, they would have negated that idea. I mean, this is on the hourly. All right, so let's go 4 hour. And really the interesting thing to see right here is basically, you know, and more so like when you look at the hourly chart, but like looking at the 4 hour, regardless, like the VPR support, like it seems to be trending lower and lower. Like this seems to be the main VPR support area right here. And as we trend lower and lower, there's less and less resistance. So the possibility of us possibly going down and trending down lower seems to be, let's see, let's pull these ribbons up just to get a look at. So again, these gray lines are going to be like support, resistance. Let's see, so those are above. EMA ribbon's going to be like huge. It's above. Let's see. So that's on the 4 hour. It doesn't look like there's a lot of support to hold up on the 4 hour. Again, I just see this idea where it's like once Bitcoin comes down, there's not a lot of support, you know, restricting it. And then essentially right here, and then also what we were talking about earlier, let me take this up. Also what we were talking about earlier when we had this reversed, or when we had this trend-based fib pulled out, essentially this golden pocket area, you know, definitely could be accumulation zone. Definitely could be, you know, part of a strategy. You know, if I was like buying, I would be like, okay, maybe, you know, like middle, bottom, potentially, you know, a position of what I was going to put in, and then because we can always move lower, if that makes sense. So like if it was like, if I was just casually buying an idea, you know, you'd have to look at everything relatively, but and so not financial advice, especially because I can't like sit down with you second by second and go over it, but essentially like maybe, you know, like around the bottom of this, if not the bottom, around 31,716, and just see how Bitcoin's price reacts. You know, if Bitcoin's price is dropping and the volume is increasing, which means that there's a lot of selling pressure, then maybe negate this idea and wait for a lower entry. If we slowly go down, hit these levels around the bottom of the golden pocket area, and Bitcoin's price picks up with a lot of green candlesticks, a lot of bullish buying pressure, you know, this could be a relatively decent, but I'm more so in the field of Ethereum, and I've been talking about that a lot, and I'm not going to stop talking about it because that's where it's at. 12 hour though, we have a potential bottom, which is really, this is new. This is like news right here. I believe, I don't think we saw this. Let's see what the idea is on the daily. Because if we can hit a bottom right here, essentially what we want to see as far as the altcoin season is we want to see a large consolidation pattern that Bitcoin can bounce around in. If that's the case, then it gives it gives more like validity to, we want to see this curve up a little bit, this white right here, we want to see this curve up on the daily. It's going to take time to do so just because we're on the daily time frame, so this isn't going to happen anytime soon. But if we can see something like a pinch like that, that's a really good start. But essentially what we want to see is, you have all these consolidation ideas, and we want to see Bitcoin bounce around in a giant consolidation pattern. Essentially, like something like this, possibly, going off of this idea, and that will give the altcoins a lot of room for alt season. Or potentially, if we break these critical lines and we don't continue to consolidate and bounce, if we break these major lines right here and we head lower with the volume uh, to perpetuate that idea, then that's something major to look at with like the mid caps. I mean, and then potentially that's going to have an effect on Ethereum and anybody that's in an Ethereum trade, which on this channel that's more so our focus. It looks like almost like you have a low and then you have a higher low and then you have a higher low. This is on the DXY, potentially a bounce and then possibly consolidation because you have a high, a lower high, and then a lower high. So if we can negate that idea on, this is on the daily for the DXY, but just something we're going to continue to look at on this channel because the DXY does have an effect, especially, and we talked about like the institutional, like, it's like a self-fulfilling prophecy. So um, DXY to retail investors, that might not mean a lot, but there are institutions investing in the markets, and so we have to keep an eye out on that, like the DXY and its relevance. Let's see. Anything change on the weekly? It looks pretty much the same. Let me turn off the Ichimochis for a second. Or not Ichimochis, the Hashinaski. Alright, candles. Alright. Wow, that is pretty bullish. That is pretty bullish. I mean, you have this massive candlestick up, and then you have this ginormous wick, and just this massive selling pressure, or this buying pressure. Like essentially, oh, like a quick wick. This was probably because, I think this was because of Bitcoin, I remember. And then essentially, on this candlestick right here, what you want to see is I mean, I have the fib pulled up, and so we have the 0.5 area, which is huge. So, and I mean, we can draw, yeah, we'll draw a fib on the candle body itself, so I can go over this idea. Trend base, or no, Fibonacci retracement. Alright, so you would start right here, then you would go down to right here, and then the 0.5 is right here. So, I mean, it's nearly right. So essentially what you're looking at here is the line that I have drawn right now is the 0.5 or halfway point of the candlestick, and we drew it in parallel to the green candlestick body specifically. And essentially, when you really start learning technical analysis with candlestick patterns, essentially we do not want to see it get any lower. Specifically, if it goes below 1313 and closes, that's specifically not going to go. That's specifically not going to be a good. What time frame are we on? On the weekly, so that would be a significant close if that was the case. And then anything below that level is going to be poor performance for uh, the weekly on Ethereum. All right, we'll go to the daily. Didn't I turn off the Ichimochi or whatever? Haichikanoski. What is this? Oh, this is definitely bearish. Okay. So on the daily, you have a bullish engulf or a bearish engulfing on the daily. I probably went over this earlier. So, I mean, at these levels, we basically don't want to see a close. I mean, as long as, like we hit these wicks or whatever and then, spike back up, we need to see more volume come in. Yeah, we need to see more volume come in. Same on the 12-hour, we have that bearish engulfing. And this like bearish morning star. But then this is entirely bullish engulfing. And yeah, that just really shows on the 12-hour consolidation. And then again, that 6-hour, and then you have this red cross. DXY is pumping, and I don't think that's correlated though. Yeah, you're getting a pretty decent dump on the lower time frames. The main thing is you go to 15, then you go to here, then you would take this one off, then you go to BTC, USD, and then this one is fine, create new panel. Okay, this is BTC USD. Oh, Super Trend saying sell on Ethereum. Alright, super. Okay, so yeah, I mean, they seem very correlated. You see the spike right here, and you can see it on the line with Bitcoin. I mean, to say that these aren't correlated, I mean, they're very correlated. Yeah, I mean, look at that massive spike, and then you see that continuation right here, and it starts to decline. You see that red candlestick, you see a decline, further decline, and then this is like a little bit not correlated right here, but then you see that drop again. Yeah, a little bit not correlated. This is on the 15, and then you see that drop, very correlated. So, I mean, yeah, I mean, our main focus is going to be, let's see, our main focus is going to be Bitcoin, obviously, not because we don't care about Ethereum, we care about Ethereum the most, but these crazy drops, a lot of it has to do with, this is on the 15-minute potential support lines, and you actually got a bounce right here off this support line. So that's it. Oh no, you didn't nearly. So I mean, that's kind of the idea that I was talking about a few, like 2 hours ago, was that, let's see, let's go to at least the 4-hour. So essentially, if you have a dump on Bitcoin, it doesn't mean that the dump is going to be the exact same size as the Bitcoin dump in percentage is not going to be the same as the Bitcoin or the Ethereum dump. And so what you look for is you look for something like this, where you find potential, like this one is 1184. So if you were to get a massive dump from Bitcoin, essentially it would be heading towards like an area like this, or if you go the 1 hour, something like that. So really we're looking for, let me see if the stream's still good. Download these apps for free, mining cryptocurrency, B network. Okay, so I mean, here's the thing about mining cryptocurrency in 2021. Um, the power, like, unless you're in certain countries, the power to like run it, like mining cryptocurrencies. First off, you have the halving event, which recently happened, and that makes it harder to mine cryptocurrencies. The second thing is, the power to reward ratio. It'll most likely cost you more in power to mine them than you'll actually receive. And then third is the fact that of your hardware. Usually you want, like, I believe it's called a GPU. I could be wrong. I'm pretty sure it's called the GPU. You find them in gaming consoles and higher tech computers. But unless you're specifically running a GPU and you have a really good setup, mining cryptocurrency is almost never going to be beneficial, like the rewards versus, like, the cost versus the rewards, unless you're speculating on the price of Bitcoin. But it still doesn't matter, because if you would have put $100 into electricity, you could have just put that $100 into Bitcoin, like buying it, and then you'd see a much better. You'd have more time. The amount of time it would take for you to spend $100 on electricity, that's going to take a long time to accumulate that Bitcoin that you could just buy that day, and because it's anti-inflationary. So I don't know if that's like, I don't know what that comment is. Maybe it's just like a newer guy, and he's like, just to say to that comment, like, he says go get a. So there's specific computers that are built for mining. Like I said, they're not really profitable. You know, the people that have like the big mining rigs, like they really got to invest a lot of money and speculate on the price and things like that. And most people don't have that much money to set up a ginormous rig to be profitable. But I was talking about, on one of my other social media channels, platforms, I was talking about getting a 32 Ethereum stake, um, running your own node, or at least delegating part of it, and having the other part, like, uh, through a third party. That would be more profitable. So, and decentralized, and have more potential reward upside. But I was saying that I think, I don't remember what the price. I think it was like, Ethereum was like $400 or something crazy when I was talking about running a 32 Ethereum node. And I don't remember the specific price on exactly how much that would have cost. And then I was also talking about, like, how in real estate you have crowdfunding, and essentially crowdfunding with Ethereum 32 nodes. Like, you can find people, group your Ethereum together. Not financial advice. I'm not recommending this. I didn't, but I was recommending this before, on one of my other social media platforms. And essentially, it's kind of like real estate 2.0, where you have the cash flow because you get rewarded for staking on the node and running the network optimally. And then at the same time, you have the asset, like it's like a property where it goes up in value over time. So you have like the cash flow, like if you were to rent out a house and make money, well, running the 32 node cash flows, and then you have the overall appraisal on the asset that goes up at the same time. And I referred to it as real estate 2.0. But saying something like getting into Bitcoin mining, I just say, do your research. But Bitcoin mining hasn't been a thing since, like, probably like 27, maybe 2018 at least. Like, the sentiment has been very strong against it, just because it's not very profitable. Another thing that you could do is possibly run a Cardano node, but the price of Cardano being so high right now, um, relatively speaking. Like, obviously, it's gonna do well, but Cardano is another node that you could run. But that takes a running Ethereum node, running a Cardano node, which is really or a Polkadot, running a node on Polkadot. But those take a lot of education, and like you're most likely like 99 point like 9 times like 10 times like you're nearly you know you're new to the space. So I wouldn't really recommend that. But like if you were looking into something like passively earning coins, I would look into that. Do your research. And um, More so, there's things like Blockstack that I don't necessarily recommend, but I see other people recommend Blockstack. Um, but third parties in general, where you can stake your Ethereum or Cardano and earn relatively high yields and not have to go through the hassle of staking it on the network yourself. That also um, leverages your risk because you're not relying on yourself and your own negligence, especially if you're newer to the space. And so those are things that I would look into to answer your question, but I don't recommend that anybody mine Bitcoin off their cell phone. It also destroys the hardware on your cell phone. It runs your cell phone extremely hard. It's not optimized to mine Bitcoin. You'd be better off buying a computer, and that's not even going to cash flow. So that's my comment to that. Ask me questions though if you ever have questions. I just don't want you to. Looks like it's bouncing up and down. Yeah, I agree. It's consolidating. Um, but yeah, I don't mean to shoot you down. I more so just mean. So I mean, you don't want to destroy your phone. You don't want to waste your money, buying a miner, a Bitcoin miner, when there's better options out. So hopefully that steers you in the right direction and gives you something to look into or research if that's what you're interested in. All right. Still, volume's not where we want to see it. Um, and this is, like I said, I don't necessarily 100%. What's the date? Tuesday, the 8th. Okay, yeah. I mean, I still don't think this is 100% correlated, but this is the DXY pumping, and at the same time, Bitcoin is dumping. And then I said it kind of weird earlier, so let me just. You most likely didn't catch what I was trying to say just because I wasn't extremely clear earlier. So I'm going to play out this idea a little bit better. So essentially, you come down, and then when you're on the lower time frames, it's a lot easier to see, which was what I was trying to say. So you come down, and this right here is a top essentially, and this would essentially right here be an area where this double top would potentially play out, and then this right here is more so the triple top idea with this essentially being like the neckline of this idea. Another neckline would be like right here, but then essentially what I have right here is you come up or you come down, and this is potentially you come down and you find support on these areas. So this is potentially like a support, come up, find resistance, come down, find support, um, come up, find resistance, like that type of idea. And then essentially what I was saying is that you have this support right here. You come up, you hit this support, and then essentially come back down and you refine that support right here. So essentially this is a support resistance type idea. A little more advanced, but hopefully that kind of makes sense. And then essentially you could right here draw a blue line as kind of that resistance that it's hitting. So it comes up, hits resistance, comes down, hits resistance. Essentially, it could come back up and either hit resistance or break through. And potentially, if that was the case, this would be a bottom, or you could look at the bottom like this, and then you have this next bottom right here. So I hope that makes sense with the yellow squiggly. This was a support resistance flipped idea that I was trying to play out, but I didn't want to write S and R idea because there's already so much going on these charts, but it's all relative. And in my opinion, you're just getting more information, which is good. As long as I break it all down for you, which I have been doing. And essentially, this is that lower low uh, possible double bottom on the more macro time frame ideas. And see, like this channel right here, we perfectly found support. So this is going to be a pretty decent area right here. We came down, we found support right in this area. So, I mean, volume is still trending down, so it looks like we're consolidating. But to really get an idea, we're going to go down to the 1 hour. Ask me questions if you have any questions, and then I'm going to go. Again, I wasn't trying to say anything, just like anything negative, just trying to steer you in the right direction. Alright, so trending downwards on volume, again on the hourly. Trend reversal. It's saying that this area right here is the top according to the 1 hour. This is saying a sell. So here's the thing. You have potentially market cipher and super trend both saying sell ideas on the 1 hour, but at the same time when we look at the volume indicator, it's trending down. So essentially how I would interpret that is that we're consolidating, and it looks like temporarily we found support on this major trend line right here, potentially. Yeah. And I mean, these are so macro of charts that I'm pulling these major trend lines from. These trend lines are very important. And so when people are trading and working off of these, sometimes their measurements are ever so slightly off. And so that could be a reason for why we just wicked right here and not hit it absolutely perfectly. Alright, I'm going to go down to 30-minute and then I'm going to head out. Let me see my connection's good. Okay. So you have that idea playing out. Again, this would be decently substantial if we broke that, and then we'd essentially be looking for this right here. And then, yeah, this is really the idea right here. There's a lot of, and I'm surprised VPR support doesn't show this, but there's a lot. I mean, you can just see it looking at the charts, but then also when I was drawing this, it's way back there. There's a lot of support touches over there. So let's see. That's the 1 hour, so we're going to the 30. Oh wow, it's saying short crypto, or market cipher saying short on the 30-minute right here. Wow, yeah, that is pretty. So off of something like this idea, again, volume isn't necessarily where we would want it, but this is definitely towards the right idea, especially with this nearly following. I mean, it's all relative, but this is, yeah, I mean, this is pretty decent right there. So yeah, definitely the idea of a continuation, and we'll see. Yeah, I think it will continue down, but I was gonna say we'll see if we find that as support, but and then this right here again, this is the double bottom idea in the lower low. So um, really the support line we're looking for is right here. And then obviously this whole thing, think of this kind of like the Ichimochi cloud of TA instead of necessarily an indicator. And so, I mean, this isn't mine. This is like super trend. So I'm not saying like buy at these levels or whatever, but let's see. This would be potentially around 31,376, and then potentially this area around 30,800, and then slightly below it all the way to like 30,745, and then major area right here at 30,000, essentially 400 and slightly below. And then this is like, like this is like where you would think of like the Fibonacci retracement tool, where it's like level 1 resistance. Okay, if we could potentially hit a bounce right here. Level 2 resistance. Okay, we could potentially have a bounce right here, possibly a good buying opportunity depending on the market sentiment. And then right here, it's like, okay, this is probably not good. And then an idea to catch. Where's the 20? Isn't it the 20? Oh no, the 28. Yeah, so it's this exact idea, right? Let me zoom out just a little bit to confirm. Yeah, isn't this the bottom? Yeah, I'm pretty sure this is the bottom right here. So it's kind of like, yeah, it's exactly how like a professional trader would read Fibonacci retracement. Like this is essentially like the uh, 0.618 line. This is like the point, is it 0.17? And then it goes like 3.82 or something like that. But essentially, you have that idea where it's like this is the first, okay, this could potentially be a bounce idea, potentially be a bounce idea, potentially be a bounce idea. You hit this line and you go lower, and maybe we can catch this wick right here around 28,000 if we do go lower. And then this is the support area right here, but this is on the 30 minutes, so we're not going to go over that. And then potentially if we do get an idea like a dump scenario playing out, then is this all my, look at all this crap, like nobody needs this. This is the 30-minute, the higher, oh, this thing's just lagging like crazy. I'm probably gonna head out just because, but we'll go to the daily for, yeah, probably the daily would probably be the best to look at. Computer's really lagging. Alright. Again, 2 days max, it will be fixed. I apologize about all the technical issues that our channel has been having. I've worked very hard to try and fix all of them to like the best of my ability. Like right now, I have like an Ethernet cable hooked up to my phone, and like I have all these different. I got like all these different apps to like configure to like hook up to the Wi-Fi, to hook up to the 5G, and to hook up to this Ethernet cable to try and fix it. But I need the freaking lightning cable from Apple, and Apple stores are closed, so they're shipping it. Alright. And he'll be here in 2 days. So this would be another major support, like, or maybe this is this is that one, and then you have this idea right here, which would come into play. I'm pretty sure not a lot of people are going to be thinking about this. Where's this? This would probably play out right here, around 37,500-ish would probably be around where it hits to, or 20. I don't know what I said, but 27,500-ish to like 27,400-ish. And this is a trend line, not a moving average. Like I said, when we go over those ideas for potential support areas that Bitcoin can find, moving averages do tend to move up, especially when Bitcoin's price is overall in the long term bullish. But on trend lines, these you can put in limit orders, limit buys, whatever. Not that I'm recommending a limit order or limit buy there, but just remember that this is a trend line, that target's not going to move. And then essentially right under 27,000, 26,913 potentially. And then probably the lowest we would aim for on this channel is 23,890 area. But I can pull up moving averages, and I'll just pull them up for a second, but I'm not really going to get into it. I'm about to head out. But if we do start seeing these ideas, then we will go over these moving averages more in depth for where we would start to find support. So that should be it. And then just this one. There we go. Where's the price action? And this is all on the daily, so this is all extremely important, relevant information. DXY. We don't really need the DXY right now. So we're just going to shrink it out like this, move it down. And we're just going to, this is the price of Ethereum relative to Bitcoin. We want to keep this on the channel, but for right now, it's nearly irrelevant on the daily. We already went down at 15, and it's very obvious that Ethereum is highly correlated to Bitcoin, as if we didn't already know that. RSI we don't really care about right now, so we're just going to get rid of that. Nice. So, frick, that was such an important, I gotta delete it now, because I don't want to just put it somewhere random. This is huge right here, this VPR support right here. So if we break down lower, we could potentially hit this support area and then continue down, because we could hit it as it's right now support, but we could flip it to resistance just because it's so massive. Yeah, and it's massive on all the different time frames. And it doesn't look like there's any major moving averages. I mean this one is bullish, and it looks like it ticked right in between these. And this is on the daily, so the fact that we have a daily moving cross, like this looks bullish to me. Yeah, this looks bullish to me. Is it bullish? It's hard to tell. It's just the price action is up, so for it to not be bullish doesn't make sense. But like I said, I have nearly every single moving average, like every single major moving average, like I have so many different moving averages. I'm not gonna go over it, but I have no idea what moving averages these are, but they crossed, and that should be bullish by the looks of the cross. I'm not 100% on that, but the fact that it is potentially bullish and that we didn't hit that like a bullish momentum pushing it up on the daily, that should be significant. and the fact that we have lowered volume, it just to me screams consolidation. All right, and then so like this area, I mean, especially if it comes up a little bit around, this is on the daily, like in the immediate short term, like we could see like 29,600 as potential support between these resistance lines is essentially what we'd be looking at. Again, the moving averages move up, but this is on the daily, so it will take some time for both Bitcoin's price to go down potentially to that level, and then for these moving averages to move up to meet it. So I'm thinking that, yeah, possibly 29,600 if there's an immediate dump is most probable for this moving average. And then essentially we just have like 26,000 or 27,000 area, and then all the way down to the 23,000, 800, 23,800 and like 39 or 27, something like that. We'll go over it later. We're just not at those levels yet, and we're consolidating. We just really need to see if there is going to be a dump. I'm not saying that there is, but if there is, like we do have these patterns and a breakout, we would need to see a close to confirm it on at least the 4-hour, especially in these market conditions, followed by an increase in volume. If we don't see that, then it's just going to keep consolidating. Let's see. So it looks like we did find support on this support line right here temporarily. And again, this is the double bottom idea. This is the lower low idea from the higher moving averages. So don't think that this is a potential support area, because it's not. So yeah, I mean, those are potentially what we're looking at right now. And if Bitcoin does go up, it's going to go up slowly, it looks like. And there's a lot of overhead resistance, and it's probably just going to consolidate. And as long as it doesn't just dump, this looks like it could be very decent potentially for altcoins. Specifically, we are looking for Ethereum. And if Bitcoin continues to consolidate, best case scenario for what we're looking at on the channel, which is Ethereum. Oh, the freaking mic isn't plugged in. Can you guys hear me? I don't know if you guys can hear me, but the freaking mic wasn't plugged in. So many technical issues on this channel. But essentially what you would have the idea is that if Bitcoin continues to consolidate in this range right here, then that would be best case for Ethereum. That would give it the potential to break out. Alright, so I'm going to end the stream. Hopefully you guys could hear me. The freaking mic was not plugged in. Always something with the technicals. We'll get it all fixed out. Just give me 2 days.